Formula One heads to its last European race of 2023. It's the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. So after this race here at Monza, we head off in 2 weeks' time to Singapore on a revised layout. Then it's Japan, followed by a sprint race at Qatar and the Circuit of the Americas, before Mexico, and then a final sprint in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Las Vegas on the 18th of November, and then the season rounds out the 26th of November in Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen leads the championship on 339 points. Sergio Perez is on 201. Fernando Alonso 168, followed then by Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly rounds out the top 10, and Esteban Ocon on 36 points in 11th. On the second half of the page, Oscar Piastri, same amount of points, Esteban Ocon in 12th, followed then by Alexander Albon. Then it's Hülkenberg and Bottas, Zhou ahead of Tsunoda, then it's Magnussen, and no points currently for Sargent. De Vries is out of F1 for the remainder of the year, Ricciardo is out with injury, and Liam Lawson, 13th on debut, gets another reprieve this weekend here at Monza. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way, 540 points to Mercedes 255. Aston Martin on 215, being caught by Ferrari on 201. McLaren are on 111, but a good podium finish last time out has put Alpine on 73. Williams are now clear of Haas on 15 to 11. Alfa Romeo have 9, and AlphaTauri still on 3. Let's take a look at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza here at the Royal Park in Italy. It's been on the calendar since 1950, a fan, driver, and just about everyone's favourite, the Temple of Speed. Get a good exit out of the last corner and fire down towards the line. DRS open, 8th gear maximum. It's a long run down to turn 1 at the Rettifilo. Make sure that the car is perfectly balanced before you slam on the brakes at around about 70 metres. Into the right, left Rettifilo. Back on the power from first gear very gingerly as you head down, round the Curve de Grande. A long sweeping right-hander, ever building up the speed into 8th gear. Flat out maximum. Another heavy braking zone into the second chicane, the Dalla Roggia chicane, braking 100 metres, flip the car left, right, back over the bump, don't put a wheel on the gravel as you head down, slightly banked is the right-hander Lesmo 1, it sort of feeds you in 5th gear, rising up towards Lesmo 2, a lot tighter, right-hander as well, downhill section of the track, as you cut now, with the second DRS zone, maximum 8th gear, down underneath the old banking section, as you head towards the Ascari chicane, quick flick to the left, down from 8th gear all the way to 5th, carry a lot of speed in, the traction will carry you flat out as you head down after Ascari towards the Parabolica. No DRS in this section as well. If you want to overtake, you have to use your ERS battery deployment. Flick the car in then as well, light down with the brakes down to 5th gear, into the Parabolica, carry up the speed, use as much exit as you're allowed as you hurtle down across the line to complete the lap. It's a short track, but it's a fan favourite. That is a lap of Monza. everybody, and welcome to Friday here at the Italian Grand Prix. It is round number 14 of the 2023 campaign, and there's only a couple more races left after this. This is, however, the last European race on the calendar. After this, it's over to Singapore, then it's to Japan, as I said, Qatar, Lakota at Texas, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, and then the season is all rounding out. We're into the last run now, and it could be a record-breaking weekend, because in the country of red, where Scuderia Ferrari as well is the top name and the top team they want to win, it could be the Red Bulls who make history. If Max Verstappen wins here this weekend, it will be a 10th successive victory, beating that of Sebastian Vettel in 2013 and Alberto Ascari in the 1952-1953 season as well. 10 consecutive victories by one driver. There is a big thing standing in his way, though, that being the Monza curse. Started back in 2019 as well. Charles Leclerc won. The next year he crashed out. In 2020, Gasly won. 2021, he crashed out. 2021 was won by Daniel Ricciardo. 2022, he crashed out. Last year's race was won by Max Verstappen. The record seems to say he could be out. Well, let's get the times for the rest of the weekend before we head up ready for the recession.
F1, as far as we're concerned with the F1, 3:40 for the second practice session. F1 shows from 5:15 on Saturday. Qualifying's from 2:15, and on Sunday we're on air at 12:30 with the race start at 2. It's also a big day, transfer deadline day today. Stay across here on Sky Sports News. Let's head up to Rachel Brooks in commentary.
The Temple of Speed hosts the last European race of 2023. Round 14 of the campaign, the fastest circuit on the calendar. It's effectively 3 straights separated by 3 chicanes as well, and this is going to be absolutely awesome. Monza looking a bit different this year. The floods that affected Italy earlier on took 10,000 trees from around the local area. Luckily, however, it has not damaged this awesome circuit. It's hosted 73 Grand Prix. The only one it hasn't hosted was back in 1980 as the Italian Grand Prix moved to Monza as the circuit was renovated here at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Imola, however, we couldn't race there this year. Still, of course, in the thoughts of everyone. Softest tyre compounds as well. Soft C5. Medium C4, hard is the C3, and even better, it's an alternative tyre weekend for qualifying, which means it's Q1 hard, Q2 medium, Q3 in soft weather. Partially cloudy, 25 degrees is the air temperature, track temperature 37 degrees, 50% humidity, so it's a bit moderate. Wind speed is up, 4.3 kilometers an hour. The circuit at the moment has a little bit of cloud cover, but it shouldn't be too bad. Alongside me in the commentary box, returning from Escapades is Josh T, and down as well in the pit lane is Omi as well. Josh, welcome back. Good weekend at Cadwell, I hope. All set to get going though here for the Italian Grand Prix, the fastest race on the F1 calendar. Very little do we ever spend more than an hour and 15 minutes in the race. Sometimes we have practice sessions longer than the race itself. Hello.
Hello, yeah. When we had the hour and a half practice sessions, yeah, definitely there was a chance to have a race quicker than the 90-minute practice session here around Monza, and 9 times out of 10 it is a quicker race than an hour and 30 around here. It's named the Temple of Speed, and it's got a couple of other names as well relating to speed, but it's good to be back and it's good to see that Monza wasn't affected that badly from the floods, but Imola definitely was, and we hope to return there next year.
Should be a double bill as well when we head back to Imola with the return of Formula 3 and Formula 2 and a couple more else as well. Imola moving slightly later on the year next year. George says, where's Megan and Omi? Oh, the profile picture is Omi. Yeah, the profile picture is Omi. He's in the pit lane, so that's why he's there. He can then turn his camera on anytime he wants.
Hello.
Hello, Omi, in the session. Megan will be back for qualifying in the race in F1 terms, but she is taking the F2 and F3s while I do MotoGP. It's a difficult weekend, this one, to get going and get on as well. Megan will be hosting the show on Sunday as well, and I'll come in just before lights out to get going and get set up as well. I don't think Sky Sports F1 have a commentary box this weekend, or if they have, they've blocked off the windows because it looks like they're in some sort of rubbing area. That's quite new, but I can see a window at the side, so maybe they are. But Monza's commentary boxes are the worst of the season. Everybody always hates them. They are horrible. And both, of course, the news coming into this weekend, if you didn't join us yesterday, is that both Hamilton and Russell have extended their contracts and will remain with the the Mercedes F1 team until the end of 2025. And I think as well, we can go down to Ted Kravitz now before we go to the green.
Just ask yourself when you get to the Monza pit lane for the first time and do these little bits into free practice one, which team should I talk about first? Should it be Mercedes, who've wowed us all with the not particularly surprising news that they've signed both George Russell and Lewis Hamilton for another 2 years? Should it be Alpine, fresh off the back of a fantastic podium for Pierre Gasly? Should it be Red Bull, talking about Max Verstappen going for a historic 10th Formula One win in a row? And then you see the Tifosi, it's a bit sparse at the moment, Rachel, and you think there's only one team I can talk about, and that's Ferrari. So here we are at the Scuderia, with high hopes here and well motivated, as they always are at Monza, but especially coming off a pretty grim Dutch Grand Prix weekend. Yes, Carlos Sainz delivered. They had to retire Charles Leclerc because of damage to his floor. He was pretty slow. They think they understand why, and crucially, they also think they have a good low downforce package. Better than Spa, and potentially a great opportunity for either of these Ferrari drivers to get on the podium. Beating Max Verstappen in a straight fight, Rachel, they don't think it's possible, but they think they can get onto the podium. And that effort starts now. They have a new rear wing and a new front wing, which is a bit more Monza-specific, low drag for this race.
Cheers, Ted. Felipe Drugovich heading out there on the circuit now, as well as our driver tracker kicks into gear. The 60-minute session is underway. He's the Aston Martin reserve driver. Last year he won, of course, the Formula 2 Championship, so all looking good. Let's talk about Mercedes then, boys, and get going in, because it was sort of the worst-kept secret that George Russell was staying with the team. The biggest surprise to me was Lewis Hamilton taking a 2-year contract. I was expecting him to take only another year, but he's committed himself, Josh, until the end of 2025, and the end of the current regulations as well. Is that sort of a wise idea?
I mean, personally, as you said, Josh, I would do 1 year and then maybe at the end of 2024 if things maybe don't work out. In championship-wise, maybe extend another year, but it's definitely throwing you, and it also keeps the team together until the end of 2025, of course, and it's good to know from a Russell perspective that he'll have Hamilton alongside, and from a Hamilton perspective that he'll have Russell alongside until the end of 2025. We've been talking about that it's good to get your drivers confirmed early, so you don't have the drivers waiting to see who their driver's going to be next year, and that might affect their performance. It depends what they're like with their teammates, and yeah.
I see George is asking, Adam's going to be joining us for free practice too, alongside a new commentator alongside us, Thomas from EERC. Megan will be back with us for qualifying and the race, and our commentary team lineup for this weekend in terms of the racing. It is myself, Megan, Josh T and Jess will be joining us for a full F1 race, because these two, Josh and Jess, haven't been able to do that in the past couple of weeks, as they've been AWOL as well. Josh was Josh and Jess were too busy with touring cars at both the Belgian Grand Prix, and then Josh was away last time out at the Dutch Grand Prix, and Jess had to cover more. So they're both getting a run in here at Monza. And then in 2 weeks' time in Singapore, we have yet to have the lineup sorted, but it will be me, Megan, Josh T as well, and possibly Omi coming in. But we'll have a guest as well up in the commentary box, which I can't. I'm very much looking forward to see how all the systems work. And I'm literally looking around and thinking I can't wait for them to see the amount of systems that we've got with the timing screens coming on. So Dragovic coming in as well. He's done a benchmark of 135.670, but it's Hamilton at 124.429 from Perez, Verstappen, Norris at the moment is the running order. Omi, good afternoon. What do you reckon ahead of all this Mercedes thing as well? Bad news for Frederick Vesti. He doesn't get a seat in F1 until at least 2026 because he's a Mercedes driver. So could he go somewhere else other than Mercedes? Williams, Aston Martin, anywhere along those lines that have a Mercedes powertrain? Because we know McLaren might be switching back to Honda, but we already know that Aston Martin are in 2026.
Well, there's definitely a possibility of that happening. I think it depends how much Mercedes want to push for it. He might win the championship this year as well. In Formula Authority, still in contention. Him and Teo Pourchaire battling as well. Pourchaire could also be in the Alfa Romeo seat, but it really does depend how much Mercedes are desperate to get Vesti in one of the cars, and getting him in a Williams probably could be a good idea as well. But for the Aston Martin, I think also Dragovic would probably deserve some kind of shot as well. But let's hope all of the fans, Corin, if you're synced up with us, let's hope all of the fans don't have to go through too much heartbreak this weekend as well.
Fingers crossed. Charles Leclerc hasn't won a race since the Austrian Grand Prix in 2022. Carlos Sainz since the British Grand Prix last year as well. They haven't won a race in over a year, which is really bizarre. New bridge there with the Pirelli logo, you might notice as well, for fans to get over from one side to another. A lot of work has been done this year after the floods as well to make, as you can see, all the trees looks a bit different as well. The floods did take an awful lot of them, as I said earlier, 10,000. So Monza does look a little bit bare, but you still get the feeling of how fast this racetrack is. But access has improved this year for the fans and general admission. It's a lot more easier getting in. And if you are listening to us at the circuit, as I know many people are as well, get in touch with us. Use the hashtag JB Motorsports on Twitter or X or on the YouTube chat as well. And get in touch with us. Let us know what it's like at Monza this weekend, and is it any different compared to normal as they come underneath the banking and into the Ascari chicane for Pierre Gasly, 16th at the moment, 7/10 down as he fires down the back straightaway. And one thing, Josh, I absolutely love here at Monza was, and that's Zhou Guanyu stopped at the end of the pit lane having to be rushed back, and Alfa Romeo with their special livery. He's got a radio.
We have a problem. I have a problem. I don't know how I get going because every time I pull the clutch, it goes into anti-stall.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's got to the end of the pit lane. They're wheeling him back down now. Get back in the garage and have a look.
So even when he's just pulling the clutch, it's going into anti-stall. So it's not when he's trying to release the clutch.
Yeah, so it's like it's automatically tripping the system by pulling it back in. But yeah, Josh, perfect look actually. Hi, it's a low drag circuit, which means skinny wings, and everybody's been out there seeing what they can do because the F1 22 cars, incredibly ground effect cars as well, aerodynamic centric. Here at Monza, it's sort of the only time we can strip them back to their very much bare instincts, and it looks quite good actually now as we see Bottas pulling out the pit lane as well in that Alfa Romeo livery, having a problem with his throttle too.
Keep getting anti-stall immediately. Okay, copy.
So
that's a setup issue then on both the Alphas, for them both to have anti-stall issues. There's a setup issue in the engine to gearbox ratio, and the amount of, because you've got to build it up to around about 10,000 RPM in order to launch the car, and if it dips below that, the system automatically goes into anti-stall. So ahead of that 10,000 RPM, it just drops below, so you've got to get that right. But yeah, skinny wing time, it's going to be great, isn't it, in qualifying?
Yeah, it really is with the skinny wings. And also talking about wings, we also saw the new F2 car for next year.
Yeah.
And that's definitely got a completely different rear wing, a little bit similar to the F1 wing.
Yeah, it's more curved up, isn't it? The DRS is slightly different, and I think it does look good. It's a refresh of what it was needed, and I think it'll help with the problem we've got in Formula 2 where drag is an issue. So DRS does look good. And Omi, I'd love to get your thought on that as well, because you were talking about it with Megan, weren't you, in the practice session? What do you think of the new rear wing on the car?
Well, first when I saw it, it was a bit hard to take in as well, but I think I've started to like it a bit. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it was shown on the F1 video as well, with Tatiana Calderon driving it as well. So, yeah, good. And I think I'm hoping that I'm kind of hoping that the racing is a bit more exciting as well. Well, to be honest, F2 racing is already exciting, but I think their goal is to make it even more exciting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it. But yeah, good car, like it.
Also, just quickly, now that we've got a new F2 car with the rear wing similar to F1, does that mean we might get a new F3 rear wing as well, so it's all the same?
I think possibly for 2025, because the Dallara built one came in 2019 for the F3. Yeah. It came in 2018 for the F2, so I think maybe one more year with this one currently, possibly.
Yeah, sounds about right, doesn't it? Hello to Beth, who says, "Hola from Sydney, where it's a very reasonable time of 9:30 p.m. A rare treat for F1 fans down here. Who thinks the tyre wars for quali will see some unexpected grid results this weekend?" I do. So looking forward to it as well. And the weather's still going to play a factor, so it could be a wet quali. I'm hoping not, because if it's dry, boy, are we going to have a great session. Because what's the one thing that everybody needs at Monza? A toe. And what's the one thing you can't do with a hard compound tyre? You can't let it cool down. So we're in for a really interesting Q1. I think Q3 is going to be absolutely epic. It's all set up, isn't it, Josh, for it's set up for the perfect weekend of racing. Everything is set up nicely. Cars can be faster. McLaren's like this circuit. See, Piastri's ahead by 33 thousandths to Verstappen and 63 thousandths to Perez. Everyone seems to have closed up it already this weekend. Talking to people yesterday who've been in the paddock walking everything around as well, and all the journalists and everything, and even some of the team representatives, they've all said there's a weird buzz around the weekend that something could shocking happen. And I sense it in the commentary box as well. Something could happen this weekend, Josh, where it's an unexpected result and an unexpected qualifying.
Yeah, well, Sainz has got a purple sector, he's about to come across the line. But yeah, something's definitely going to happen. Even if that's going to be a different winner, which would really put something into a spanner in the works. Especially, we've got the Monza curse, and Verstappen is coming up towards the final corner now. But yeah, there's definitely something going to happen. I hope it's not similar to some of the big crashes we've had here, but something about big crashes is that one of the main massive talking points in Formula 1, sausage curbs.
Yes, especially here at Monza. We remember Alex Peroni getting launched in Formula 3 at the 2019 in a practice session here. They have removed several of the exit curbs. Jess sent us in the guide, and we've got up here in the commentary box, changes to the circuit. Alex Brundle tweets it, Jess sent it in to us and tagged us. Thanks, Jess. She says, change of the circuit, removal of the speed bumps at turn 4 and 5, that's the Dalla Rossia chicane. Removal of the speed bump at turn 8, that is down here at, well, what was, because we're on board now with Piastri across line stage 6. That turn 8, that's down at the Ascari chicane area as well, so that's gone. And turn 10, that's the exit coming down to Parabolka. So they have changed several parts of the track, Josh, and removed the speed bumps because they were just causing nothing but problems. But in my opinion, it's a couple of years too late.
Yeah, definitely a couple of years too late. Whoever thought sausage curbs was a good idea in motorsport, I have no idea. And I don't think there's a baseball bat to hand. I don't really want to find a baseball bat to hand.
We always need one every weekend because we've got to use it for someone.
I mean, Josh has got an umbrella, so...
The baseball bat is in the house, Lucille. I've got a rubber version of Lucille from The Walking Dead that I picked up at a gaming convention around about 4.5 years ago in London at Tobacco Dock as well, so that was a lot of fun. Really actually weird being there because, side story while everyone's out on the track, side story, Tobacco Dock used to be Tobacco Road, and there's a wonderful episode of Only Fools and Horses where Uncle Albert goes missing, and they find him at Tobacco Road, now the dock, and he's saying about how all of it used to be, you know, Fisherman Dock and everything, and he was talking about the past, and it was on his own life experiences as well, and it's so beautifully done, and it's actually my dad's favourite episode of it, I know that for a fact. He ain't heavy, it's my uncle. But to actually stand there, and I made a point to stand there where they were, it was so weird to see the development, even 30 years down the line, the development they've done over the past 60 years in the London is amazing. As Djokovic goes 13th, 125.6. I'll throw it back to you, Josh, as Lawson goes 12th in his second weekend of F1.
Yeah, and we're already on Race Director's Event Notes version 2. And something that's caught my eye, it's in Article 23 of the Race Director's Event Notes, and it's about the race suspension. They've got rid of the procedure with a standing start for 10 minutes, 5-minute signal, 3-minute signal, etc, etc. And that's definitely interesting.
What's it now? What's the procedure? What does it say now in the procedure?
The only thing it says now in the race suspension is, in case of a race suspension, cars will be stopped in the fast lane of the pits in front of the pit exit lights. That's all it says.
They're still going to have the 10-minute signal, though, because of how it's done. Maybe they've changed that.
Yes.
The only thing I can think of is because last time out, when we did have a red flag, it was a super small pit lane to bring it into. And you missed that, by the way. Best race of the year, Josh T. And you weren't in the commentary box for it as well.
What one was that? Last year?
No, last time out, the Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah,
100.
I heard there's a red flag. Still haven't watched it, by the way.
175 overtakes, the most in F1 history.
Okay then.
And we were saying it was boring during half of it, weren't we, Omi? We changed our minds quite quickly when that rain came.
It was kind of expected. Well, because everyone was all teasing us up and getting us a tiny bit excited, but yeah. And yeah, Little Owlet was 1 week after Hubert as well. In that one, it was on the Saturday. I remember that morning.
Yeah.
I remember like every single morning. It was the Saturday, the sprint race. The feature race at the time. But yeah, really, really was exciting. The whole race until that moment, I'd say, and then obviously we got the safety car. But
I remember Laura Winter during the lockdowns. When I remember during the lockdowns, Laura Winter did an interview with Alex Jakes, and he said about how going to Monza a week after Anton Hubert was one of the difficultest things he's ever done because nobody wanted to be there. And he said how hard it was, and that beautiful monologue he did at the start of F2 practice as well was pitch perfect. And you can see why Alex Jakes really is one of the best in the business at the moment, as well as Russell comes across the line, 7th fastest at the moment on a 1:23.814 as he comes into the Rettifilio, down to 2nd gear, gently on the throttle at the exit. He rises up, 4th gear ready, 5th gear, 6th gear, 7th gear, into 8th gear, midway through the Curve de Grande at over 300 kilometers an hour. You approach the braking zone, try and spot the board, 200, 150, 100, slap on the brakes at 70, flick the car into Della Roggia, 10 to the pits.
This midfield, in fact, they're just about to spray a bit of aero paint on the rear wing of Alex Albon's Williams. You might be able to see them do it in a second just before he goes out, but it's not really worth them to be burning through tyres because they're going to need them as the weekend goes by. Of course, this weekend we've got the alternative tyre allocation, as you already said, so there are a few sets of tyres, fewer for the teams to use, and Williams don't want to be burning them up so soon into free practice 1. But there was quite a funny bit of an interview, Rach, that Alex Albon said yesterday. He was thinking of putting a kind of comic appendix on his crash helmet design to kind of celebrate the 1-year passing of his appendix that caught him out, that ruled him out of the Italian Grand Prix last year. And then he decided against it because he couldn't find really what an appendix looked like. And if you put an actual picture of his appendix with a little message underneath, 1996 to 2002, you know, RIP my appendix, that it might look a bit weird. So he decided not to. It just sums up Alex Albon's great
I know,
sense
I'm
of
very
humour.
grateful he didn't do that. Bless him. He's never played that game Operation then, has he? I'm sure there's an appendix in that you take out with the tweezers when you play that game. That's for people of a certain age, I imagine. I'm getting very blank looks from me right
I've done it. I've got the old operation. In fact, I had a Dalek operation as well for Dr. Who. Well, who didn't really? If I look up, actually, I can see it right at the back next to everything there. Okay, first practice then here at the Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen leads Leclerc 1-2. So everyone goes quiet now on the circuit as they come in. Looking quite fun then. Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's Piastri coming in there. Russell, Alonso, Norris, Gasly top 10. Ocon, Dragovic. Nope, Tsunoda now goes into P12, so they change over. There's a new camera angle into Max Verstappen. That looks great, Owen. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, looking good indeed.
Oh.
Like it. Oh.
Nico Hülkenberg is up on the jacks. Now he's still in the car. Now, that indicates to me that they're going to check something. Go on.
Past mechanics just love working all the time, don't they?
They do.
Oh, they have to work so much. I actually feel bad for them a tiny bit. They work all the time.
So they'll keep... Oh.
Quite a bit of bottoming, says Gasly.
So he's going through there. Should we send it down to Sky and see what they're saying as well on the world feed?
To survive that heavy downpour on slick tyres was phenomenal. He deserves a medal for what he did there.
I remember us crossing each other in paddock and going, these are the days where you're kind of lucky or thankful that you didn't have to drive, because some of those conditions out there were totally treacherous, and Alex Albon really did survive it. But I think, you know, he's in great form at the moment. I think he's one of the drivers who's come back to F1 even hungrier, more willing to prove themselves. Obviously, James Vowles joining the team, I think, has also been a great addition, and I think that team is definitely, as a whole, going forward. So, exciting times.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. I know in Spa they were a little confused by the change in performance there, so they are hoping for good things this weekend. At the moment, though, it is definitely Max Verstappen leading the way. He's out on the hard tyre, ahead of Charles Leclerc, then comes Max's teammate, and then Charles Leclerc's teammate, Carlos Sainz, fourth quickest so far.
An Adderall? Then Sky go on a break. Right.
Yeah, well, Sky off on a break, so we get up the onboards.
Yeah, there we go. Onboards are up.
New RNCs for this competition have just come out, so we can have a look at that.
Oh, yes. So, across the line then. Everyone just clavating in. Dragovic in the car once more for a rookie FP1 session, of course. That takes Stroll out of it.
Yeah.
But how much could it have been that it was his season and not Stroll's earlier on in the year? But, you know, how the cookie crumbles sometimes, unfortunately. Coming into all of this. Good morning, everybody, as well on Twitch, I want to say, in case we've got any chats there. Good morning. I haven't got that up just yet. We're just trying to get actually ready to play some interviews with Hamilton and Russell about their time in Formula 1, but as always, Twitter not being the best at the moment to come in to the situations as they attack. And Linus Lundqvist is on there. I will follow Linus Lundqvist to come into it as well. On board with Alonso at the moment. Down towards the Parabolica. That's where he is. I know in your circuit he's elsewhere, but the pit lane channel is slightly behind on things. So as they come in, softs bolted on for one of the Williamses, and that is Logan Sargent, who is going to have some new situations. I can't find Sky F1, you know, on X or Twitter, whatever it's called. I keep getting the Italian version for some reason, and I can't find it. Here we go, with Ted Kravitz as well, because I want to hear as well from Lewis Hamilton. I know he's here somewhere because I saw it. It's just that the fact that, you know, it doesn't load as nicely as you want it, because another 2 years of the contract. This is what he had to say at the press conference. Hopefully he's going to say it in a minute. Here we go. Come on, Lewis. Start talking to us, please. So here he is.
The goal within those 2 years is 100% to be fighting and to win a world championship. You know, we're second in the Constructors' Championship now. Is to dethrone those that are at the top. and that's I 100% have faith that we can do that. In terms of long term, yeah, I'm thinking about my next contract. I'm thinking about what that will look like, how long that will be. I plan to be here for a while. I literally cannot wait for this day to end to be able to get in the car tomorrow, and that's pretty cool when you've been doing it for 30 years. The goal within those 2 years is one.
Yeah, so looking quite good, isn't it, at the moment, for everyone just to take calm and take stock, I think, for Lewis Hamilton to keep in Formula 1. Another 2 years on his deal then until the end of the regulation changes. Fingers crossed it's going to be a lucky couple of years for him, because he's not been good with that car the past couple of years, has he, as well? And
Josh?
yes, go on.
I saw you tagged me in the George Morgan tweet. Now let's talk about that. Was he actually?
Oh yeah. He's copying us, isn't he? Is George Morgan? He's doing the Italian Grand Prix watch along.
He heard our conversation and has probably just gone and done it. Like, look at the timing.
It was literally what 2-3 days after. Getting ready, yeah. And he hasn't replied sheepishly. So yeah. So he's doing a watch along. Typical. What are we supposed to do in that time? George, you've nicked our audience here, mate. Yeah, but
Insert Alex Albon shouting George.
but we.
Oh, here we go.
We've got Omi and Jess. There's a whole PSGL team over here.
Oh. You know who to watch.
The battle of the PSGL commentators on Sunday as well. Not going to be too bad. Hey George, if you need a voice, break, come with us. We need him on for another session. We need George back. Hopefully for a race as well, if he doesn't mind it. I mean, I'm pretty sure with his equipment we could dual stream it. But then again, it comes a question of, as you see all the damage to the banking here with all the trees and the flooding over the past 6 months as well. So the banking in very much need of some TLC at the moment. But we're hopefully going to be filming a feature this afternoon, fingers crossed, where I'm going to take an F1 car on the banking, on esports as well, and take a look at all the different variations of circuits we've had here at Monza over the years. So we've got coming up, we've got the normal layout plus the oval coming through, as Piastri's dropped some sort of debris on the track. That's been collected by Fernando Alonso. He ran right over it as well. That's not going to do too well. But yeah, there's a lot. Hopefully it'll ban. But the problem is we can't find a way to play it, so we don't know when it's going to be slotted in just yet, and if we can film it, because we don't even know. So that it's an idea we've had, but ideas never really come to fruition because of technical gremlins and stuff. Verstappen at 1:22.657. Leclerc, Perez, Alonso, Sainz, the top five here at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. And actually, Josh, I'm amazed this race is going ahead. The flooding we had back in May was unbelievable, and it affected Monza, as I said. 10,000 trees have been taken down. The circuit, luckily, not as damaged. It got repaired quite quickly, but it doesn't look quite right yet, does it? The restoration project's still up there, and especially in Imola, that region of Emilia-Romagna, extremely hit by the floods.
Yeah, it really was. Hopefully it'll be able to return to normal, but also when we go back up to the top of the circuit, up at turn 6, hopefully we'll get a drone shot there as well, because you can see how many trees have been lost, especially in that part. And when we went over around the oval on that same drone, you could see a couple of fallen trees across the oval. But yeah, coming out from the second chicane up through turn 6 and 7 in that little on the inside of the circuit, there's a lot of trees, and all you can see is brown, not green.
All the trees are brown, and the sky is grey. Ted.
For speeding in the pit lane for Checo. I got the details of this, Rachel. Did you know about this, guys, up there? And did you know at the time?
Verstappen.
Hold on, Jeff Radio. I'm getting way too much helmet lift. Understood, thank you.
As to why Checo was 0.8 kph, I think it was, above the 60 limit. It was
'Cause
because
he-
he was
when he came in, yeah, and
he
he-
was aquaplaning and he was not in control of the car at all. That's what he said.
Oh, is that why he hit the
Yeah.
barrier? Yes.
So that's what he said yesterday. Because I was curious, having watched it, as to how he could speed. It's not a very Red Bull thing to do, to make a sort of basic error like that, speeding in the pit lane. And Sergio explained it was because he came into the pits, it was properly chucking it down. He was still on the inter, he's about to go on the wet, and he lost control of the car completely. It slid into the side of the pit building, clonked the front right, and that's why he was speeding, because he wasn't in control of the car at all.
And Zandvoort's 20 kph slower
Yeah.
anyway than most other circuits, isn't it, in the pit lane, because it's so tight.
But it makes a lot of sense, Ted, because you wouldn't have had the tracks of the other cars in front of you coming
know
into
where the
the pit
braking
lane. So
zone
it
was,
was
yeah.
just about survivable on track, because you all follow each other in those like train tracks of where the tyres are displaced in the water. But in the pit lane, no one else was really coming in.
So I call pretty unlucky for Checo to lose the podium that way, actually. I mean, I don't make excuses for...
2 seconds, Ted.
Team ready?
Something is wrong with the rear end, medium with high speed. There's zero grip. It feels like something is stalling.
Okay, so Valtteri is in trouble.
has got out after the issues with the anti-stall earlier, but saying at the moment feels like something's stalling at the rear of the car. Ted,
I'll
carry
follow
on.
that up. Yeah, unlucky for
Thanks.
Checo in Zandvoort. Right, here Gasly, who took advantage of Checo's time penalty, is also not happy with the back end of his Alpine, so he's into the pits and has made a suspension change to the rear. So yeah, Gasly sitting and waiting in this very, very tight pit area that he's got. He's got one of these stanchions, Rachel. One of these. It's very, very, very tight for him to actually get out of the garage. But yeah, Gasly, for many people, me as well, the driver of the day in Zandvoort, even if he didn't even make the top 3 in the voting.
Didn't win the vote, did he? But no, great performance from him. You'll be able to hear from him this weekend.
Yeah, didn't win it. Will Williams be quick as expected? Yes, they should be. Williams will tend both in top 10 cars, says Upright Fossil. Now, Sargent in the hot seat. Denying Djokovic is the only bad move so fast a man has made this season, absolutely. Just talking about that pit lane incident, of course, the red flag we saw at Zandvoort. It really was a situation where he just locked up, didn't he? The aquaplane didn't. I didn't think about that. That was the reason why he hit the barrier and lost it to Gasly on the radio. But yeah, it's one of those weekends coming through.
Oh.
Amy?
Hello?
Sorry,
I just sneezed.
We heard in the background. I'll tell you one thing, though, coming into it, this is a lot energetic first practice, isn't it? There's so much going on compared to normal, and everyone's bouncing around everywhere as they come down towards turn 1. But I do think, Josh, that with it being an alternative tyre weekend, there are so many different runarounds going on. So we've got the hards going on for Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc and Sainz. Alonso's out there on mediums. Norris has done 2 laps on the mediums, now 5 laps on the softs. Hamilton has done 10 laps on the hards, he's on 1 now. Then we've got Albon on softs, 5 laps. Piastri's done 11 laps on softs. Russell's done 11 laps on hards. Gasly has done 9, 10, 11 laps on the softs. 10 laps of Rock on softs. 9 laps Sonoda soft. 6 laps Sargent soft. Looking through as well, Hulkenberg's done 7 laps on medium. Magnussen, 11 laps medium. Bottas only 4 laps on softs, and Zhou's done 5, but both Alfa Romeos have got out of the pit lane in time. But Josh, it's a busy session because they've got to learn the tyres, and they're limited on sets, down from 14 to just 11 sets of soft tyres, of slick tyres this weekend. So it's incredibly hard to get it the punch up right.
Yeah, it really is, and of course we've seen it before earlier this year. If you don't have a soft tyre and you get into Q3, you can't take part.
Perez.
Let's hear from Perez.
The flare toe, we haven't had a toe. Yeah.
So Perez wants to try a toe, and looking at the driver tracker, he's got Piastri just ahead of him, and is Verstappen even on the circuit? No. So he's going to try a toe with another car. Must be Piastri, because Magnussen and Albon are coming through. Is he going to let them through coming to Parabolica? Not too sure. Yes, is that Magnussen through? So they've compromised each other already. And like we saw in 2019, the toe is going to be extremely crucial here. Low downforce circuit, you need to get a good slipstream. Limited running of the DRS here as well. So qualifying is going to be, it's always the best of the year, and I cannot wait for it to come through.
Yeah,
Gonna be
it's
exciting.
Definitely going to be a good one.
Who's your money on at the moment, Omi and Josh? Omi, I'll start with you. Who's your money on so far?
Well, it's hard to tell. He's just opening practice, mate. Well, F2 and F3. I'm gonna say Bortoletto, possibly. I think he's looking good. Gerda, obviously, needing to recover after a few bad rounds as well, especially at Spa as well. So he topped practice. So gonna be really, really interesting to see how F3 goes, and also Formula 2 coming up as well straight after that.
Got confirmation of who's taken a 4th power unit here, and on the bubble for penalties for the rest of the year, Leclerc, Sainz, so both Ferraris have taken their final power unit. Russell has taken one, Bottas, Tsunoda, and of course the De Vries, Ricardo, Lawson battle. Ted's at Ferrari.
But I'm happy to tell you that it's not actually something to be concerned about. They're making a change to the rear suspension. It's easier if they jack the car up because it's got a pull rod rear suspension layout, and that means it's just easier to get to if they jack the car up. But they're also fitting a bit of new aero bits at the back. They're about to test with some aero paint. So somewhere on the left-hand side, you should be able to see 2 Ferrari mechanics with a bin liner. And they're going to put that on the garage floor while they put the spray the aero paint on the new bits that they want to test, and then send Charles Leclerc's car out on track to see the results.
Cheers, Ted. So we're just seeing Perez, who got a toe off Magnussen down towards turn 1. He completely backed off and caught him up before the end of the straight. Zhou's having issues. Ready?
Bottom out like crazy, guys. Like crazy.
And bottoming like crazy, guys, like crazy. It's undrivable. So that Alfa Romeo really is having problems. The C24 cannot get up there. So yeah, the De Vries, Ricardo, Lawson have taken another power unit as well. They're all the same car. But also already on 4 from the Dutch Grand Prix a week ago, Albon, Gasly, Zhou and Norris, they are on the 4th power unit. So if they take another, they'll face penalties coming forward. Omi, I interrupted you. What were you going to say earlier?
I just saw another message saying, "Where's Omi?" So I'll just...
Omi is famous. The more people saying, "Where's Omi?" then "Where's Crofty?" Bottas.
The rear end in high speed is something stalling.
So something on the rear end is causing the Alfa Romeo to stall, and this is a really bad problem for them.
I hate the Where's Crofty on the highlights all the time. I literally try to challenge every single one of them. It's like I'm trying to cover every single message. But luckily, the highlights editor also prefers Alex Sheeks, so...
Yeah, they work with him, F1 TV. Sky do their own highlights. If you want to see Crofty's commentary, just go watch Sky's highlights.
Yeah, stop whinging in the comments. I literally go to every one of them, typing in there and replying to them. Where's Crofty?
Yuki Tsunoda has just done the fastest first sector 1 at 27.347, sector 2 at 28.1, sector 3 27.7. So looking quite good there as well on their running order. Do you reckon we're going to be in for an interesting practice 2 later when everyone goes in their quali simulations, Josh? It's going to be difficult and a change around, isn't it, compared to normal?
Yeah, it definitely is. And as I mentioned earlier on, that again, if you don't have a spare set of tyres for qualifying, then you won't be able to take part, and we've seen that. And there's definitely a mixed feeling about that. We've had some people who think it's a good idea, and we've had people who absolutely hate it. I think it's a bit like Marmite. You're not okay with it. You either love it or hate it.
One of the two that always needs to be taken through. Let's go down to the pits.
They can improve on those times, you would imagine. Max Verstappen will. Fantastic time from him at the top at the moment with a 1:22.6. But Ferrari making gains. Just 4 100ths behind at the hands of Carlos Sainz before Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc.
I knew they were going to go to an ad break. That's why I threw down to them. We're getting to know the timings incredibly well up here as in the comms box. Just prepping for what's going to be an interesting session. And fingers crossed as well. Practice 2 later is good. Okay, so 22 minutes to go of the first practice here at the... and Sargent's gone off the track and continued at turn 10, I've just noticed. Haven't seen anything on the TV pictures as to has he moved yet, guys. So that's an interesting one. But it is Verstappen from Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Alonso, the top 5. Norris, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Albon, Piastri, top 10. Russell, Sargent, Gasly, Ocon, Hülkenberg. Then Drugovich, Magnussen, Lawson, and back in the pit lane. I'm really struggling this morning, actually. The 2 Alfa Romeos, because we've got Bottas in 19th, and Zhou Guanyu is 20th at the moment here at the Italian Grand Prix, and that is a huge puff of steam and smoke coming from Charles Leclerc's Ferrari as it leaves the pit lane. We saw it was up in the jacks with Ted. They were just adjusting and putting some aero paint on, but there was a lot of steam. I've got the onboard camera with him, he's okay. Albon's gone off at the exit of the Ascari chicane, just got on the curb a bit too much, coming down the back straight and kicked up some gravel. So just the rear stepping out as well. David Coulthard did that on the way to the grid in the 1995 Italian Grand Prix. Started on pole position, crashed out in the formation lap, red flag came out, and he was able to restart the race from pole position in the spare car. No spare cars now, and it is a correction. It was Albon off track at turn 10, not Sargent. So that's the correction coming from race control up here at the moment. At this Grand Prix. There you go, look, as you can see it now, cropping up on our TV pictures here for what is a very entertaining Grand Prix. And we're fingers crossed as well, it's going to be good. So it was Ocon, as we see now, Alpine getting in the way of things as well. Josh T, coming to you on this one. What are you expecting in terms of pace from McLaren this weekend? Could they be a dark horse?
Yeah, definitely hope so, but we've seen McLaren, and we've said this many a times, but their season started off absolutely terribly, and it's just so great to see how they've improved over the season, and the massive improvement from the mid-season upgrades. And yeah, McLaren, a team which can fight for podiums and maybe even a win if the Monza curse does happen this weekend, and then that's going to make Max Verstappen even more determined to get next year consecutive victories in a season. But hopefully we just get it over and done with this season with the domination, and hopefully something changes next year. But will it? No. We might have to wait until the regs change.
What about you, Emmy?
Jock is spot on with that one, actually. We're just gonna have to sleep and wait. But yeah, I don't really see anything really changing too much next season. But I'm hoping they just get closer and. Oh, right, okay. Luckily, I almost ripped out a wire again from my headset, but.
Back on. Yeah, we're here. Can you hear us? So this was a few moments ago. And this is okay. This was a few minutes ago. Look at the Ferrari now, guys. That's what I'm on about. Look at the steam coming off from the top of the engine there. That's a lot of water vapor being blown away.
Oh, with all of the power units, of course. And here is Albon with his off into the gravel and then onto the escape road. But yeah, with both of the Ferraris on a risk of a penalty. And with that now, can someone go do a welfare check on Mr. Gallagher, please?
Presumably, he is punching the systems as we speak and going, no, no, no.
Well, I mean, might need to get we might need to get some GT Omega admins and people onto him the way that he treated his chair. In sometimes, and I know he likes hitting his head on it sometimes.
Isn't he at Monza?
I could be, probably is. Right, Bradley Lord back with us this weekend, the Mercedes social media engineer.
Or just a word from you on the contract extensions for your 2 drivers. Same lineup for the next 2 years.
Yeah, hi Rachel, hi Anne. Exactly, yeah, same lineup. I think something we knew was coming. It wasn't really in doubt, but obviously lots of speculation until you can actually get out there, put a press release out and announce it. So nice to have that confirmed out in public. And yeah, both guys came in this morning, I think, with a bit of a spring in their step after the news. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that, Bradley, from both of your drivers. Moving on to the performance for this weekend. What are you working on now, and what are the expectations from the car around the Temple of Speed?
what they're working on now, I mean, obviously it's this alternative tyre allocation weekend, so you often end up, well, we've seen in Hungary as well, you compromise FP1 to have the right tyres for the rest of the weekend. So a single set of hards, we've gone out and done a baseline run, a setup compare after that, so some adjusts in the garage for Lewis, tune a bit of understeer, for George raising the car a bit, just if it was bottoming a bit much along the straights, and then a longer run on higher fuel a little bit later. So expectation-wise, I think we saw in Spa that we were pretty competitive in most conditions, but probably didn't optimise that weekend because of the sprint format, the wet weather. So I think we expect to be right there in the mix behind Max and his Red Bull in the fight for P2 and the podium. And so far, looking at ourselves, Ferrari, all running the same tyres, it's really, really close out there.
Hi Bradley, Naomi here. I'm also in the comms box.
Hi, Naomi.
Bradley, I want to bring the conversation actually back to the off-track story, because it is incredible news to hear that, you know, Lewis Hamilton is going to be sticking around for a couple more years at least. I mean, he's been a significant player in the sport for the last decade, if not more. What is the importance for your team to have a driver like Lewis Hamilton stick around at this point in time?
I mean, it's massive. It's a huge motivator for everybody, you know, to be working with probably the greatest of all time in the team. He's a brilliant team member. He pushes each one of us every day and pretty much in every area as well. I mean, only yesterday we were talking, right, how can we improve media activities? How can we work better pre-season in the area that I'm responsible for? Just like he's pushing the engineers on the cars, motivating the team for quicker pit stops. Oh, we've got a little guest viewer coming in as well there with Toto. But no, Lewis he pushes on everything and he pushes every limit. Fortunately, I've learned from the experience last time. I've muted them off so they can't distract me this time around. But yeah, Lewis is just a brilliant motivator and a driving force, not just in the cockpit but outside it, and that's brilliant for everyone in the team.
And slightly gone a little bit more under the radar than Lewis news is also the news that you've decided to extend George's contract. Now, I presume that has a lot to do with you guys shaping your team for the future. And, you know, Lewis Hamilton, although we want him to be around forever, will not be around forever, but George is quite a lot younger, and I guess you're building the future of the team around George as well.
Yeah, that's a long-term project as well. I mean, George is the present of the team as well as the future, and I think Toto said it in the press release and has said it many times. I believe we've got the best driver lineup and the best combination in Formula One, and George has been with us since 2017, back in his GP3 days as then was, and he's just developing into another pillar of what we do. He and Lewis work well together. They challenge each other. There's a healthy competition, as there should be. And again, driving the team forward and, you know, both pushing in the same direction for what they want from the car. And that helps guide the development work and the engineers who are tasked with interpreting their feedback and translating it into performance and developments on the car.
Just finally, Bradley, from me, I just wanted to bring it back to on track. When I spoke to Lewis after the race last weekend, he said that he thought he'd be challenging Max. Not beating him, but challenging him without some of the calls that were made last weekend. Is that what the team have established from looking at all the data now after the race, that actually you would have been up there challenging him, and potentially this weekend Ferrari in that mix as well? You could give him a real good battle.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've run the numbers afterwards. There was lots of you can imagine what people are doing next to me in terms of distracting and actually hitting me now as well, which is nice. Yeah, run the numbers. We've had a look at all of that, and yeah, the pace was very close behind Max with ourselves and Aston Martin in particular. So without the things we got wrong in the first few laps, I think we'd have been right up there and in that mix. So missed opportunity certainly, but at least the silver lining of the cloud is the fundamental pace of the car.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for the moment, Bradley, and we will be speaking to Toto after the session, so feel free to come along and try and distract him. I think you can exact your revenge at the end of this session.
Very nicely done indeed. Yeah, extracting revenge is always the best plan. So, Verstappen top, 122.657, 46 thousandths of a second faster than Carlos Sainz. He's a tenth quicker than Perez. Top three separated by 0.177. Gasly, third last time out is on the circuit. And Josh T, I know you haven't seen the Dutch Grand Prix just yet, and you're going to try and catch up before, but Alpine getting stronger and stronger after a bad couple of races. They lost track to McLaren in the Constructors, McLaren on 111, and now Alpine are now on about 77, so they're getting closer.
Yeah, and it's good to see Alpine performing as well, hoping to catch up in the Dutch Grand Prix in between FP1 and FP2 just, but I heard there was a red flag, and I heard it was a little bit chaos with some weather and stuff like that, so I kind of know what happened, but I would like to see the whole race as well, just as a whole, instead of what's in the highlights. But yeah, good to see Alpine coming back.
Nah, just watch the highlights. Quite a lot of the race was boring
A
domination.
little bit after a couple of bad race weekends, as you said, but
Go on.
But
Or
Toto,
just watch the race in tow.
that would work.
Yeah, race in
but
tow, babe.
But Toto being Toto.
Yeah, honestly, the main race, great start, great end, boring as anything in the middle. Hopefully Italy's going to be different.
Yeah.
Valtteri.
I mean, I'm interested how
The
much
car is better now, question. Yes, better.
good news.
Right, so Alpha have repaired it. Can you confirm the car is better now? Question? Yes, better. So great stuff there as well. I was at a wonderful TikTok of Grill the Grid yesterday evening where it was Bottas as baby Bottas and they had to identify him. I got sent the TikTok. Fantastically funny. Oh, you'll have to go watch Grill the Grid. I've only seen that bit, but it did look funny.
Yeah, I need to probably go watch Kill the Grid back.
I've watched it, and all I will say is most of the drivers didn't even have to say his name; they just knew it straight away.
Valtteri,
Quite
Bottas.
funny.
It was always going to be one of the two, wasn't it? I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't be one or the two to take it through. So well done, Valtteri Bottas, as well. I'm not that too dissimilar looking. You can all see what I look like as a child. It's all on my Instagram as well. The first time I was given a microphone. It's quite funny, really. Bottas, middle sector looking good. Into Lesmo 1. Back to part of the track. Lesmo 2 coming out. Looks weird with less and less trees. I hope they replant the area quite quickly here. The Royal Park in Monza. DRS Open as you head underneath the old banking here. In towards the Ascari chicane. Drop down 5th gear. Flick the car into the left. Back to the right. Back on the power. Quick flick to the left. Down the straight. Quick as possible, as smooth as possible. And Bottas, 8th gear flat, 10 minutes to go. Watch into the parabolica, drop down 3 gears, flick the car in, 8th to 5th, back on the power gently. Don't get too much on the exit curb with the gravel as well. Up towards the line. Is it faster? Yeah, Bottas goes 15th on a 1:23.952. Still not as fast as what we're expecting from the Alfa Romeos, but it's a decent setup time as well as they take a look in the garage there. This is, of course, the last ever home race for Alfa Romeo. They are leaving Formula One at the end of this season. They will return to being Sauber, the team, for 2024 and 2025, and then in 2026, of course, it comes through that they will become elsewhere. Now, anyone know who's tagging me? Because it's really annoying me. I want them to shut up. Ted. No, car is much better now.
No, it's just some text, Why don't you, Joe, saying the car's much better now. Joe Wayne.
Good. So I think that with the Alfa Romeo Sauber, I think that was a ride height adjustment and potentially a rear wing adjustment as well. It is a different rear wing, the one they've had in the previous races. Quite a sort of thick angle rear wing, but anyway, it looks like they've solved that little aerodynamic stall they were having at the back. Charles Leclerc had an issue in the footwell with his pedals, and that meant that he had to get out of the car. We were all worried when he got out of the car. I was kind of, oh no, is there a problem? Session over. I know we got, what have we got, 10 minutes left or so?
Eight and a half.
Okay, so when, we were worried that was the end of the session, but it was just an adjustment to the brake pedal or the accelerator. It was the brake, so we couldn't see it too clearly here, but that job done. Leclerc is back in the car. Looks like he's going to do one more run before the session ends.
Cheers for that. I just see, I've just seen it's all coming from PSGL's chat.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I'm also getting tagged. Now, I got about 6 pings from one channel in about 10 minutes doing F2 practice, and I was like, shut up, I'm trying to talk.
I know, it really is. I tell you what, don't at the commentators and then reply to each message. It's really annoying, and actually, looking at that, I'm not exactly too... well, yeah, that's a bit interesting from what I've just read there on the PSGL chat. It's not my problem this year, so... not my problem this year. I'll be back next year. It's coming through to get in. Verstappen from Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Russell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fernando Alonso starts a lap time now What can he do as he heads down towards the braking zone? Are we back on my main timing screen? What's happened here? Okay. I don't know what's happened there to slow down everything. So, yeah. All looking good on my side.
Well, that's why I was getting notifications as well.
Yeah, really annoying me. Don't reply to to a tagged conversation, anybody, because it really does.
Yeah.
It annoys everybody.
Literally, and also, the thing I was getting pinged for another server was just a bot. It wasn't even to ask me something, it was just, I think they're trying something with a bot or something.
Yeah.
They've got a new bot on the server, they're pinging me, so I'm also included in the thing, and I'm like, do this later, I'm trying to waffle at F2. I'm waffling on about Roy Nissani, let me do that now. I literally told them exactly that, because they know I like waffling about Nissani, so it got them to finally shush.
Oh, you did it then!
For me to mention that there is an option to mute a server for a couple of hours and
There
do
is,
not
we
disturb
saw.
mode exists.
I search. So,
I'm too lazy to do that.
So you did do it, Omi, then, because I've got written down here on a post-it note, Omi, Nizami, Rant, F2 Practice Monza. I wrote that down a week ago, so you did it.
Well, I guess I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't do it too much because, well, to be honest, I just said that to them because I kind of needed to, you know, get them off my shoulders, and yeah. But I mentioned it. Yeah, I did mention it about Ralph Bosch. I was telling Megan all about it as well, and Megan was like, "Well, he just loves Formula 2 and stuff like that. So like, he just needs to go. He just needs to go." So it was just really a bit. It's really just ridiculous. He does just need to go there. He literally does. It's like, oh, how long is he gonna stay?
All right. Well, we've only got 5 minutes left. Mike Crack was just on the TV screen there, of course, the Aston Martin team principal, coming in as well, who last night went to dinner with the Sky F1 team. There was a picture of him and Simon Lazenby at a pizzeria last night as well. Looked absolutely gorgeous as well, that pizza. It was literally homemade crust and bread, as it is here, of course, in Italy. Really good chopped tomatoes, baked into the sauce as well, and a big double of mozzarella cheese on top. It looked fantastic as well. Really want a pizza now, which could be done because it's the Italian Grand Prix. Or spaghetti, although I added... Is chili con carne Italian? I'm not sure. I don't know, actually. Spaghetti bolognese, maybe. No, chili. Which one's chili? Chili. Chili probably is chili. Coming through it here. Not too sure. Verstappen, 126. That's waffling if you want it. Verstappen, fastest on a 122.657. Sainz, 46 thousandths off the pace at the moment. Charles Leclerc coming across. His brother Arthur Leclerc this morning has already been out in the Formula 2 practice session. He's got qualifying coming up in around about an hour and 15 minutes time. Leclerc is 2 seconds down, but look at the Tifosi. Really are passionate. They cheer Charles through despite the fact that he's 2 seconds off his overall best time. He seriously has got the power here. And of course, he's a Ferrari winner back here in 2019.
Yeah, and going back to the food, chili con carne. The name is Spanish, but it's an American Tex-Mex dish.
Ah. Okay, I know that's an interesting one.
Most likely originated in San Antonio in southern Texas.
Wow. Okay, so chili con carne is Texas. Now you say it, it sort of makes sense, doesn't it, to have a chili con carne as it being an American dish, if you think about it, because of, you see all the old films where, you know, it's the stew pot, it's the...
Oh, not another tag.
Oh, that's Carlos. Yeah, another server pinging. Who's that now? Sainz had taken it. Sainz took an aero strip off and lost it down there. Oh, it was Jess. Jess! Yeah. Oh, Jess has gone in there now as well.
Yeah, so on this day in 2002, Michael Schumacher became the first driver to win 10 F1 Grand Prix in a single season, finishing the year with 11, of course. And a lot of people think chili con carne is Mexican, but it's a Texas-Mexican dish.
The thing
Hence, there's that little confusion.
There's your practice.
Is it Mexican?
Yeah.
Is it American?
There's your practice commentary, everybody. That's what we like to hear about it. Yeah, Ted. No, Ted. Max Verstappen, of course, could be on the verge, as I said right at the beginning of the broadcast, of winning 10 Formula 1 races in a row. I mentioned this in 2013 as well, and I mentioned it when Mercedes were dominating. I mentioned it when Mercedes are dominating. Is it a problem for Formula One to have, especially Verstappen, dominating? It all depends. If he wins 10 and breaks the record, I think people will go, that's good, that's a great record to have, well done, Max. If he goes on and wins more and closes out the year and nobody else wins, is that a problem for Formula One? Because these rules are brought in to create overtaking, to stop the Mercedes dominance, but that stopped in 2021. In 2021, we had one of the best seasons ever. It wasn't just competitive between Hamilton and Verstappen, it was competitive all throughout the field. So,
also,
is it a problem for F1 if Red Bull win every race this year? I mean, it's great, it's domination, you've got to respect the engineering, but is it an image problem that they could come up to?
Yeah. And also, obviously, we got to thank COVID as well, for kind of delaying the regulations that they were meant to come in for 2021. So
yeah, we might not have had the best season ever.
Absolutely, but yeah, I think they need to do something to make sure that it's equalized a tiny bit more, because even Megan was saying, well, Formula 1's just been ridiculous this year, because look at how many winners there's been in Formula 2, and I was mentioning it all to her as well, so
yeah,
it's just ridiculous, to be honest. We really do need more winners in Formula 1. We can't just have Verstappen winning, and the only times Perez also decided to turn up is when Verstappen either was kind of moved out of the way and just didn't fight back later on, or kind of had a grid penalty, so ugh.
Yeah, like, where was it? Saudi Arabia, Verstappen had a gearbox problem, got sent to the back of the grid. And Azerbaijan, Verstappen...
Safety car
mucked up his strategy, didn't it? And Perez took the win because he was gifted first position. So, yeah, what started so promisingly has sort of gone away, hasn't it? I mean, it's 11 race wins in a row now for Red Bull. No, it's longer than that, isn't it? How many is it for Red Bull in a row now? 15 or something or other? Yeah, around
something
about
like that.
Yeah, what round are we at
my,
now?
my
14,
prediction
15?
is Perez is going to be challenging Verstappen again at the end of the season. He does it at the beginning, and then he sometimes might do it at the end. But in the middle, he's just silent for it. So,
Checker flags out, session's over. I don't think Max will win this weekend. I don't. I think that the Monza curse has been too powerful over the past 5 seasons of Formula One. You just can't see it, can you? How bulletproof is that car? That's the question. It is bulletproof, but how? And he locks him into one.
He loves doing that at the end of session, doesn't he? He did that in Zandvoort in a few practices as well.
Still hit the course, for God's sake, as well. So he's, I don't know. What do you think as well, guys? Is Max... Is he bulletproof? Can anyone beat him? Will he stop himself?
Yes, possibly. One rare moment. Or the team, or the car just gives up on him as well.
Apparently we have hope. Bottas goes through. Beth says...
Well, every weekend I have to say that we just say Verstappen's not going to win, so...
Beth says chili con carne is American. I think it was from when Texas was part of Mexico, i.e. Before 1836. And you have hope, says Soldier Matt as well, coming through. Just anybody to win other than a Red Bull. Because we just want to... I'm running out of superlatives for a Max Verstappen wins again. He can't win every one for the rest of the year. Well, he could.
Surely not. Well, yeah. He could, but surely not.
The 19th century. So, yes.
Safety car. So we're into the test procedure now. So it's the Mercedes AMG safety car this weekend as well, by the way, not the Aston Martin. Safety car is in this lap. Safety car is in. And the virtual safety car has now been deployed as they cycle through their systems tests that they have to do to make sure that everything is okay. And the systems are thumbs up. There's the VSC now. Max Verstappen ends this session fastest. Beth says Max will win every race for the rest of the year. Soldier Matt says even Sergio could win. That would make me happy. Someone has to stop Max. Yeah, somebody does. Not in terms of the fact that we don't like Max, just that we need to have somebody else winning.
Someone else. Yeah. I think Sergio will maybe pick up one win this season at some point, later on maybe, once the championship's sealed, but I think we just want someone else. That's the main thing.
Verstappen has won now 46 races he's won now. Hamilton has won 103. It's not going to take him a couple of years, is it, to get him up at this rate? That's the scary factor. VSC is in, by the way.
Question is, are we going to see Max Verstappen overtake? I think maybe.
Do an overtake?
I mean, he's here until the end of 2028. So he could get over 100 wins.
Yeah.
Probably will.
It's that worry you have to think about going in as well. Okay, Formula 3 up next. Megan will be in the hot seat alongside Omi and probably Josh if you're staying around in the pit lane area of things.
I mean, it depends where you want me.
Wherever to help out. F3 qualifying coming up. MotoGP coming up as well. Their hour-long practice. I'll be in the comms box for that. Let's take a look at how they finished here for the first practice session for the Italian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is numero uno here in Monza, from Carlos Sainz in second, fastest for the Ferraris at the moment. Third for Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc fourth, George Russell's fifth, Fernando Alonso is sixth, Lando Norris is seventh, Lewis Hamilton eighth, ninth Yuki Tsunoda, and 10th Alexander Albon. 11th for Oscar Piastri, then it's Sargent 12th, Lawson 13th, Gasly 14th, Bottas 15th, Hülkenberg 16th, Ocon 17th, Drogovic 18th, Magnussen 19th, and Zhou Guanyu is 20th. That's it then. My thanks to Josh T. My thanks to Omi for your company. We'll be back for practice 2. Adam Limridge and Thomas will be joining us in the commentary box. Josh T and Omi will be down in pit lane. Next up, it's Formula 3's qualifying and MotoGP's practice session to decide the running order for Q1 and Q2. We'll be back later for more action from us all here. Thanks for your company. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.